got in the car and you're free from any direction from home, you think, there was concern about what Amy was going to do with her life. Now, Al had gone on before, gone to college, and he had taken Psychology 101, and so he was going to help the family matriarch, Mama Mary Lou, figure out, because she was growing concerned, what in the world was going to happen with Amy. Al came home and said, I think I got a way to figure it out, Mama. And so she had to pass by the long dining table on the way out the door, and she had gotten permission on that Friday night to have the family car, and she was fixing to head out and kick up her heels. So Al went in there and he said, now watch, Mama, and see what I do. And on one end of the table he put a $100 bill. Right in the middle of the table he kind of shook his head and said a bottle of Jack Daniels. And at the very end he put a Bible. Now he said, here's the deal. And he was using some psychology, some of that tuition money that Miss Duck had paid over at Mississippi State to show what he could do. He said, now Mama, if she picks up the $100 bill, she's probably heading toward a career in finance, maybe campaign finance or the banking business or whatever. Now, if she stops and messes with that whiskey, she's probably not through being wild, and we've got to keep an eye on her and make sure we steer in the right direction. And if she gets the Bible, she's probably going to be doing the Lord's work, maybe a missionary, a Christian counseling or something, and this will give us an idea. So, Miss Mary Lou and Al hid behind the door. And here comes Amy, down the stairs, not wanting a lot of questions, wanted to head out the door. She goes by that table and never checks up, grabs the $100, crams it in her purse, stops and takes the top off that whiskey and takes a big swig and sets it down, picks up the Bible and walks out the door. Miss Mary Lou looks at Al with fear in her eye and said, what does that mean? Said, it can't mean but one thing, Mama, she's going to be a politician.
Honestly, Amy, you look great. I heard there was a terrible case of beef flu going around the house on Thursday and Friday, and there were a lot of house members in the fetal position, but I'm glad you were okay over there. You know, Sid touched on a little bit about where I come up with my caricatures. God knows they didn't want me drawing the program because I make everybody look so darn ugly, but I just wanted to review with you where I come up with my ideas for the people I draw. And, of course, a good place to start is our good friend Mike Moore. You know, with Mike, he had the hair. I started with the Marge Simpson thing, and it went great for Mike. And then we had, you know, Haley kind of started out as Fresh Flintstone. We're going that direction. Our good friend Senator Lott, you know, you kind of go from one side to another. And so I just wanted to explain, you know, a little bit where I started with my Amy character. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even go with her picture. I kind of started with Lucy there from Peanuts, and then added in a dose of Bill the Cat, and then so you get the really great looking thing there. And my very first drawing, I think I did of you, and I got here, this was one of my all-time favorite cartoons, but this was Tuck, Chuck, Puck, and a Lame Duck. These are back in the old Democrat days here a little bit. And I'll be honest with you, I know you've done better than these other two guys. So, this is, of course, used to work with the old team, you know, Ronnie and Jack and Charlie and Tim. And this was back when we came out with State Quarter, which is now a nickel, of course. It's like a Honey I Can Explain as he's driving by a little bit. But, you know, these old surprises come back. This is Dixie popping out of the cage here. I'd have therapy after drawing that one. But then, you know, in true Hollywood fashion, you hooked up with a new leading man, and it really became better than Ben and Jennifer. This is one of your better roles, and then you did, of course, The Incredibles. Get his arms crossed there in complete satisfaction, of course. And then, of course, this little evil grin. We got to get the curlicue in the hair there. There you go. All right.
I was going to thank all my friends for helping me do this roast, but unfortunately none of them showed up. But I want y'all to bear with me just a little bit if I appear to be a little nervous when I'm up here. You know, I've been roasted a number of times before, but this is the first time I've ever agreed to it in advance. But it has been fun, and I want to thank the Mississippi Press Association for hosting this roast and for the very good work that they do, and especially with their educational grants and your scholarships. And the Mississippi Press Association, if you didn't know, is the 6th oldest in the nation. Now that's saying something, and Carolyn does a great job representing the newspaper industry in our state. And you know, just the other day I heard a young journalism student, and they once asked Ronnie Agnew at the Clarion Ledger, they asked if he could, she said, if he could tell her, said, how do you run a newspaper? He paused for a moment and he responded, he said, don't ask me, but I got thousands of subscribers who can tell you how to do it. Now, like you, Senator Burton, Sid told me I had 10 minutes tonight. And I said, wow, just 10 minutes? I don't know where to begin. Of course, you know, Sid, start at the 9th minute. But Sid is a great MC. But you know, Sid, you get so carried away. But unfortunately, it just isn't far enough away. Now, if many of you read the political columns that are in the newspapers, you probably read a recent newspaper article, and it called me a political animal. And I thought about that for a while, you know, and I thought, well, that's very appropriate. Considering over the years I have been called other kind of animals. I've been called a workhorse. I've been called a show horse. I've been called a war horse. But with all of these animal references, all I want is for just somebody to call me a fox. And they won't do it. Now, I'm not going to say much tonight about giving most people more money back to spend each week for their families and discouraging unhealthy lifestyles by raising taxes on cigarettes. But all I can say is that many of you have already heard tonight, because almost everybody's talked about it at one time or another, the story of the turtle on the fence post. And yes, I do have a picture in my office of that turtle on the fence post. It's a story that my daddy told me. You've heard that over and over and over again. But there is another story that I often tell about fences. It's not about turtles. It's about 2 or 3 senators I know who need some help getting on the right side of that fence post. And what a great collection of roasters that we've had tonight. Don't they deserve a round of applause? You bet. They did a great job. Now, there was one roaster who did not make it tonight, and that was my buddy Mike Moore, Flashbulb Moore. He was scheduled to be here, but he couldn't come. And he was in Arizona today, and so the press called me and said, you know, Mike's not going to be able to make it to your roast. So I thought, I'm going to give it a shot. I called him on his cell phone. Mike answers the phone, and I said, Mike, I said, come on, you got to be there. There's going to be all these TV cameras. There's going to be the Associated Press. Even the CNN might be there. Well, must have been something real serious in Arizona because he still didn't show up. So, okay, Marty, you're up. Now, a lot of people know that I grew up with Marty, and we've known each other for a long time. In fact, we go back so far that Marty used to have long hair and I wore the little bows. Because y'all know there's 3 ways a man can wear his hair. Parted, unparted, and in Marty's case, departed. And Marty's quite the athlete, if you didn't know that back when he was in college. He's quite the athlete. And I can't remember, Marty, you got to help me out. Were you the quarterback, the halfback, or what was it the coach called you? A drawback. I can't remember. But Marty is a great friend, and I appreciate him being with me tonight. He was one of the lead professors I had at Mississippi State, and a great friend, and I appreciate him coming and being here tonight. He said earlier, he said, I taught her everything she knows. I don't know what that says about Marty, but nonetheless, I'm glad he's here. All right, Billy Munger.